The anime opens with a view of a fantasy land where Geldwood soldiers are engaged in a fierce battle against an undead army controlled by an evil necromancer known as the Corpse God. In response to the crisis, the church sends their most elite members to confront the malevolent entity. Among them is Shigura, a powerful member known as the Calamity Crusher, who faces the Corpse God alone while the rest of his team stands ready as backup. During their confrontation, it becomes apparent that the Corpse God possesses a unique ability that allows him to convert the souls of the deceased into magic, and he skillfully defends against Shigura's attacks. However, Shigura surprises him by revealing that he also possesses the same eye powers, known as the Evil Eye. With this ability, Shigura can see all the souls that the Corpse God is sacrificing. The battle intensifies, and just as Shigura seems to have the upper hand, the Corpse God casts a mysterious new magic spell. Suddenly, the scene shifts to modern-day Shinjuku, Japan, where we meet a white-haired boy named Polka Shinoyama. He wakes up in an alleyway, disoriented, and with a cutthroat. He begins to explore the world, which seems devoid of magic and filled with happy people. However, Polka soon realizes that he is being followed. Two policemen approach him, but at first, he can't understand their language. As they continue speaking, he gradually starts to comprehend them. Out of nowhere, a peculiar girl comes to his rescue. She takes his hand, and they flee to an alley. She introduces herself as Misaki, but to Polka's shock, she reveals that she is the one who killed him. Although she is amazed that he survived the previous attack, she attempts to harm him again. As Misaki chases him, their encounter is observed by someone using a drone. It is revealed that Polka is being targeted for assassination by a client's request. Despite struggling to adapt to his current body, Polka finds himself stumbling into a room where the mafia used to execute people. Misaki corners him, but suddenly, his eye starts glowing, and his evil eye awakens, enabling him to see the souls of those present in the room. He uses his necromancy powers to impale Misaki with a skeletal hand, pinning her to a pillar. The scene then switches back to the fantasy world, where it is revealed that the Corpse God's soul managed to escape that world and has been transported to a different one. In short, it is now residing in the body of Polka. The Corpse God reflects on his past life as a necromancer, sharing how he was sold by his parents to the imperial court sorcerers and fought in battles for the empire. When the empire eventually fell, he sought a peaceful life and found solace with a group of 5 children. Tragically, their peace was shattered when Geldwood soldiers killed the children. Seeking revenge, the Corpse God transformed an abandoned coal mine into a labyrinth of corpses and waited for someone to attempt to slay him. When that happened, he successfully performed a secret art of reincarnation. In the present, the Corpse God realizes he is responsible for ending Misaki's life, which worries him as it puts his peaceful life at risk. Meanwhile, Takumi, who watches him using drones, reports to his leader, Clarissa, about Polka's survival and supernatural powers. While Misaki is dead, she sees flashbacks of her life. She recalls the heartbreaking scene of her family being murdered by a hitman, which led her to seek revenge. Misaki becomes a hitman herself, partly to avenge her family and partly to find out if she would find pleasure in such actions. After successfully avenging her family by eliminating the man responsible, Misaki gets assigned with a new target, an apparently innocent boy named Polka. She takes on the job to prove her skills and abilities, and she succeeds in killing Polka without much difficulty. Feeling like she has nothing left to live for, Misaki plans to end her life by jumping off a roof. However, Takumi intervenes and reveals that Polka is still alive, leading her to believe that her job is unfinished. Polka uses his powers to revive Misaki as a zombie, but before she regains consciousness, Takumi informs Polka about a fire at the Shikuzawa building. Polka takes it upon himself to rescue the trapped children using his magic. He swiftly enters and exits the burning building, and images of his large skeleton hands during the rescue spread on social media. Takumi believes that Polka's abilities make him inhuman and advises Clarissa to stay away from him. Curious about the meaning of peace, Polka asks Clarissa, who suggests that wealth can bring peace. She offers to help Polka in his quest for peace, and thus he joins her organization. Takumi and Misaki help the Corpse God settle in the building. Takumi asks about the real Polka, and the Corpse God tells him that he informed Polka's family he's on a self-discovery journey for the summer. The Corpse God wants to investigate the person who ordered Polka's murder since Clarissa can't reveal it due to secrecy. Takumi gets disturbed when he finds out the Corpse God attached Polka's soul to a drone, treating souls like toys. Later, a man asks Misaki for help against hitmen who are after him. Misaki goes to the hideout, starts defeating the hitmen, but the man betrays her because she killed their leader before. He shoots her, but surprisingly, Misaki comes back to life and keeps fighting. The Corpse God arrives and witnesses the infants whose souls haunt the man. Enraged, skeleton hands emerge from the ground and twist the remaining man into a tangled human knot. Returning to their base, Misaki finds no bullet holes on her body, and the Corpse God reveals she's immune to bullets. Later, the 3 of them order pizza and talk about Misaki being a zombie and enjoy the moment. The Corpse corpse god still believes in the connection between his world and this one. Patrol officers arrive at the scene of the ambush to investigate the reported gunshots. They discuss the strange entanglement of the men's limbs. Somewhere at the bar, a man named Iwanome pretends to be drunk to gather information about the fire at the Shikuzawa building. He asks for Clarissa, but learns she's on the late-night shift, which is unusual. Suddenly, he receives a call and goes to the scene of the human knot with his subordinate, Arrays. They belong to a special branch of cops that deal with such unique cases and troublesome individuals. Iwanome addresses his Comps 3 team in front of a whiteboard, showing them information about the troublemakers. He explains that their job is to handle cases that can't be made public. They suspect that a troublemaker named Fire-Breathing Bug caused the fire at the Shikuzawa building, and an unknown man called Lemmings was involved in a previous incident. Despite their supernatural appearances, Iwanome assures the team that all troublemakers are humans and can be dealt with by Comps 3. Now, moving on to the corpse god, we'll call him CG for short. CG transfers Polka's soul into a stuffed shark toy. The real Polka attempts to speak, but CG explains that giving him a voice would require human vocal cords, which they don't have. CG suggests focusing on replenishing his magic using mana stones, which are known as gemstones in our world. He and Misaki visit a jewelry store but are discouraged by the high prices. On their way back, they encounter Arrays, who takes Takumi's drone and starts questioning him. Meanwhile, Iwanome goes to the bar to speak with Clarissa about the fire at the Shikuzawa building. Arrays apologizes to CG and Misaki and asks them to leave. While trying to engage Takumi in conversation, CG intervenes and claims the drone belongs to his friend. This piques Arrays' curiosity, and he approaches CG. Suddenly, Takumi calls Arrays on his phone, pretending that CG and Misaki are his gaming buddies. Takumi threatens to expose Arrays' actions with a video. Arrays warns them not to trust Takumi, but CG defends Takumi and values their friendship. Out of nowhere, Misaki attacks Arrays, and they manage to escape with the help of the corpse god's necromancy powers. At the police station, Arrays asks an officer to investigate Misaki's Kick's footprint. She recognizes it and links it to the human knot case. Meanwhile, an unknown figure named Lemmings is seen in the same building, holding a photo of Misaki's footprint. In the bar, Iwanome insists that Clarissa confess her connection to a viral video featuring a skeleton Grim Reaper. Just then, Misaki and the CG enter, and Iwanome receives a text mentioning their involvement in a human knot case. Arrays also arrives at the bar. Suddenly, the lights go out, and Lemmings appears, surprising Iwanome and Arrays. Arrays advises Iwanome to focus on capturing Lemmings. Despite the presence of witnesses, Arrays prepares to attack. Misaki whispers to CG that Lemmings is scarier than the police, and CG agrees, seeing spirits around him. Lemming tries to kidnap Misaki, however, CG intervenes and uses bone blades to catch Misaki with a skeletal hand. She bites and stabs Lemmings while CG converts spirits into magic, summoning a giant skeleton that makes Lemmings run away. Arrays and Iwanome, unable to see in the darkness, regroup and decide to return with better gear next time. In a corporate building, a man named Takaru scolds Lemmings for his failure, and Lemmings shows him a picture of Polka. Takaru laughs at Polka still being alive and declares that playtime is over. After a while, CG plans to start a business using his necromancy and introduces Hozoroji, a spirit he made a pact with and transferred into a pen. Hozoroji suggests a goof money-making idea, and they start a fortune-telling business. Takumi is amazed by the money they earned in a week, and they divide the earnings among themselves. One day, the twins Kazuki and Shizuki arrive with bodyguards and mistake the corpse god for Polka due to possessing Polka's body. CG tries to convince them that he is the corpse god from another world, but they don't believe him. They argue for some time, and eventually, CG agrees to go home with them the next day. He looks up at the smoldering spirit above the twins and promises to protect the children. After the twins leave, Takumi shares information about his family, the Shinoyama group, and suspects that someone wants Polka dead because he is the next successor of the company. They decide to get a human-looking bodyguard and choose Misaki for the job. On the other side, the twins meet their older brother, Takaru, and inform him about Polka's return. Takaru smiles and notices someone spying on Polka. The next day, CG and Misaki visit the Shinoyama home, where they are welcomed by Shizuki, Kazuki, and Takaru Shinoyama. They have lunch with Takaru's wife, Kiri, Seo, Polka's half-niece, and Rosen's nephew-in-law. Suddenly, Rosen, who is the head of the family and Polka's father, enters the room. He looks at Polka and requests a private conversation. After some talking, Rosen holds a katana to Polka's throat and demands to know what happened to the real Polka. Before CG can answer, he senses potential danger toward the twins coming from the mansion's direction and promises to respond later. Rosen allows him to leave, and shortly after, an explosion occurs at the mansion. The scene shifts to the past, where we witness a girl named Suzuka on a mission to retrieve the lost purse of the twins. She successfully finds the purse but accidentally overhears a conversation between the supposed bodyguard and her cousin's husband about a grand plan that requires 2 years of preparation. Unfortunately, Suzuka is discovered by the imposter bodyguard and tragically loses her life, ending up burned. However, Suzuka's strong desire to protect the twins persists even in death, and her soul remains attached to them. She continues to watch over and safeguard the twins with unwavering determination. In the present, the bodyguard lures the twins into an underground room without an exit, revealing himself as the fire-breathing bug. Misaki arrives just in time to rescue the twins and fights the bug while they're trapped. CG comes to their aid, fulfilling his promise to Suzuka. Her spirit embraces the twins with care and finally finds peace. CG takes the twins to safety and hands them over to the maids. Meanwhile, Takeru captures his nephew-in-law, who is helping the bug. CG notices something strange and uses his evil eye to catch the bug disguised as a maid. Misaki arrives, and Lemmings pins down the bug as he tries to escape. The police arrest the fire-breathing bug, and Yogi Chi, one of Takeru's associates, brings Rosen's nephew-in-law. Yogi Chi, Lemmings, and 2 mysterious figures are part of Takeru's Dragon Palace agency. In another scene, Iwanome interrogates a captured troublemaker named Solitaire about the fire incident. Solitaire reveals that the real fire-breathing bug always leaves a message at the crime scene, and there are many imposters trying to act as the bug. In the police car, the fake bug plans to escape, but something unexpected happens. The Words This World is a buggy program, so it cries for the flame appear on the car's ceiling. The officers see the imposter bursting into flames and quickly jump out of the vehicle before it burns. On a bridge, the real fire-breathing bug sings a children's song while the imposter meets a fiery end. Corpse God finally meets with Rosen and asks for some privacy, noticing Rosen's lurking bodyguards. Rosen dismisses the bodyguards, and CG starts explaining his story. Rosen recognizes the plush as Polka and finds the situation ridiculous. CG explains that he needs a new vessel, and Rosen offers to provide one of his androids for this purpose. However, Polka expresses his desire to become a robot himself. Rosen respects Polka's wishes and allows CG to continue using Polka's body for the time being. Rosen also acknowledges Misaki's bravery in saving his grandchildren and decides to forgive her. Later, Misaki apologizes to Polka for killing him, and she is deeply moved by his forgiveness. Kazuki and Shizuki express their gratitude to Misaki and Polka for saving them. As they leave, Misaki inquires with CG about forming a contract with Suzuka, but he postpones the decision for now. In Tokyo Penitentiary, Iwanome informs Erase and Solitaire about Bug's recent actions, including the incineration of a patrol car. Intrigued by the news, Solitaire decides to take action. Suddenly, the lights go off, and Solitaire disappears, plotting his comeback. Iwanome briefs Comps 3 on Solitaire's criminal history, involving magic tricks and illusions. Although he didn't physically harm anyone, he damaged the reputation of Japanese security by capturing and releasing political leaders. Solitaire's motive is to prove the existence of real magic. Later, CG shows Takumi an antique radio and they listen to a news report about the death of an arsonist, confirmed to be a Shinoyama member. The news then shifts to Solitaire's prison breakout. Takumi explains Solitaire's background to CG and Hosoroji. Misaki notices a change in the news anchor's voice, and at the police headquarters Iwanome realizes that Solitaire has taken control of all the TV channels, announcing his return. The police are puzzled by how Solitaire achieved this. Iwanome speculates that he might have purchased airtime from the grocer, a troublemaker who remains a cunning businessman even in his prison cell. Few days later, Seo, Polka's niece, and her attendant Xiaoyu visit CG's temporary residence. Seo explains that her room and shark collection were destroyed in a fire. CG gets a video of Rosen Shinoyama asking Polka to take in Seo and her bodyguard temporarily due to the fire damage. CG wonders if Seo could be the one who tried to assassinate Polka. Meanwhile, Iwanome and Erase visit the Shinoyama house to investigate the fire incident. They meet Takeru and discuss fire-breathing Bug as a suspect in the estate arson. Takeru doubts Bug will commit more crimes if what Iwanome says is true. He also mentions Phantom Solitaire, who caused the company's stock price to fall with his kidnapping of the Prime Minister. After leaving the manor, Erase tells Iwanome that Takeru's subordinates seem dangerous and rely on violence to solve problems, calling them scumbags. Iwanome finds a lead in a Shinoyama family photograph, where Erase recognizes the teenager as Polka Shinoyama, Rosen's younger son, the same person they encountered in the alley. Later, Xiaoyu overhears Polka and Takumi discussing how to handle the houseguests when the fortune teller shop reopens. Xiaoyu silently vows to expose the Polka Shinoyama imposter and his plot, as he's jealous of Polka being the favorite child and feels undeserving of Rosen's love. The next day, they reopen the fortune-telling business and receive some special clients. Iwanome and Erase visit Polka, surprising everyone, and ask him to read their fortune. Takumi hides under his desk when Iwanome and Erase visit. Iwanome wants Corpse God to tell his fortune, while Erase declines, fearing a bad outcome. Misaki, Seo, and Xiaoyu watch the proceedings. Corpse God initially shares some information about himself and his past, which Iwanome dismisses as easily available online. However, the pen spirits suddenly write a message on its own. Iwanome thinks it's some kind of trick, but when he sees the paper, he becomes shocked. He loses his composure and grabs Corpse God, demanding to know what he knows. In a flashback, one of Iwanome's subordinates, Hosoroji, gives him his favorite cigarettes and a paper with a symbol. Iwanome memorizes the symbol, and Hosoroji burns the paper, calling it a signpost to follow and a one-way ticket to death. In the present, Iwanome is furious after seeing the same symbol drawn by Corpse God. He refuses to explain and advises Iwanome to follow his heart. After regaining his composure, Iwanome pays for the session and bids farewell. Xiaoyu finds Iwanome's reaction strange and suspects that the written symbol is connected to the fake Polka's secrets. Xiaoyu pretends to shop for dinner ingredients but decides to follow Iwanome and Erase. During lunch, Iwanome admits he lost control, and Erase is relieved to see him back to normal. Erase asks about the written symbol, and Iwanome takes a moment to respond. Xiaoyu observes the men leaving the restaurant from a nearby rooftop and decides to keep a close eye on them. In a burning building, a mobster opens a fireproof safe. Despite the danger, however, the boss becomes another victim as the fire-breathing bug sings a nursery song. Phantom Solitaire appears and takes a parchment from the safe, finding the same symbol on it. At the Utukuru bar, Iwanome confronts Lisa about hiding something related to Polka and their mutual friend Hosoroji. Lisa denies any connection, but Iwanome insists that she stops pretending. He mentions a message from Polka that only Hosoroji and Lisa would know about. Iwanome believes Hosoroji is still alive and asks Lisa to convey to him that Comps 3 will expose police corruption for his return. Xiaoyu decides to investigate the staff at Utukuru Bar to protect Rosen Shinoyama from potential threats. Takumi is surprised to discover that Hosoroji is an internal affairs IA inspector responsible for investigating internal corruption. Misaki wonders if Hosoroji used to be their boss, but the pen, who happens to be Hosoroji, clarifies that they were in different divisions. Solitaire disguises himself as a security guard to gather information from the grocer and imprisoned family head. He offers trivial information for a small price and learns that the symbol is linked to an old night order. On the day of Solitaire's performance, everyone in Shinjuku witnesses dirigibles with the symbol invading the airspace. Corpse God recognizes the emblem as belonging to his fallen empire. Meanwhile, a group discusses Solitaire's revelation of the symbol online, and some worry about its rapid spread. Some suspect it might be a trap, while others call for immediate action against Solitaire. In the flashback, Solitaire is taken aback by the exorbitant price of 30 million yen. The grocer explains that prices vary based on the customer's interests. Solitaire decides not to pay the price and instead inquires about the cost of the airships. Later, Solitaire offers a reward for information about the symbol but ends his live stream clumsily. Takumi and Corpse God become alarmed as they watch the terminated live stream. Seo approaches them with questions about the Empire and reincarnation. Misaki joins the conversation, and Seo expects answers from Polka. Corpse God hesitantly admits to being a sorcerer from a fallen empire, reincarnated in Polka's body, seeking a peaceful life. Corpse God promises to return Polka's soul to his body. Seo believes the story and Misaki disappears during the conversation. In the shower room, Seo and Misaki have a tense conversation. Misaki wonders if Seo knows who killed Polka, but Seo avoids the topic and forgives Misaki, believing Polka would have done the same. Later, Misaki confirms Seo's innocence to Takumi and Corpse God, despite Seo's odd logic. They agree to investigate any organizations connected to the symbol, but also consider the possibility that Solitaire might be lying. Iwanome meets with the Superintendent General, Jiradaru Takasu, while Takumi and the others investigate information about him. Solitaire decides to meet with Polka, setting up a mysterious encounter. For people come to CG for fortune-telling sessions, including an older man who listens calmly. CG puts on his fortune-telling outfit and asks Takumi if he found anything about the emblem they were investigating. Takumi says his search yielded nothing. In the divination room, CG advises a middle-aged man named Shoyuta Yamanura to change course quickly to avoid a bad fate. However, Solitaire, who is impersonating Yamanura, suspects that CG's information might be based on Takumi's regular research rather than supernatural powers. Solitaire asks about the emblem, but CG doesn't give any specific information. However, he tells him that the emblem is not exactly right and shows him the correct emblem, which surprises him. CG then asks about a spirit girl in a wheelchair, which shocks Solitaire even more. Solitaire thinks the girl might be his guardian spirit and leaves. Outside, Solitaire notices the two girls from before, and he recognizes one of them as the fire-breathing bug. Back at the building, CG finds it intriguing that two people asked about the same question, making it a curious coincidence. On the other hand, at the headquarters, after the meeting, Arrays and Iwanome discuss their cautious approach to finding Solitaire, as they want to be careful about who knows the truth about the symbol. Later, Xiaoyu receives an email from his sister, but he is interrupted when he spots Solitaire on the rooftop. Concealing himself, Xiaoyu attacks Solitaire, demanding answers about the symbol and his organization. However, Solitaire realizes he mistook Xiaoyu for someone else. Meanwhile, downstairs, Polka wakes up and discovers a message from Bug. He wakes CG up, and they see a mysterious English message on the wall. Polka gets scared, but Corpse God assures him it's not the work of a ghost. Corpse God receives a call from an unknown number, and he says some words from his previous life, unsettling him. On the other hand, Xiaoyu continues to fight Solitaire, and a Shinoyama employee watches the fight through binoculars. Takaru finds the clash between Solitaire and his grandfather's bodyguard amusing. Meanwhile, Lemmings observes the fight from an even higher rooftop. In a building stairwell, Corpse God talks to fire-breathing Bug, the unknown caller, about the information he has on the Empire. During the call, Stairwell Bug then asks Corpse God what he is, but he doesn't answer directly. Instead, Corpse God scans the area to locate the callers who left a message on the wall. He senses some people nearby, including Seo Shinoyama on the floor below, and surprisingly, two people on the abandoned building's roof. Suddenly, Lemmings appears on the roof and Xiaoyu distances himself from both of them. Xiaoyu demands to know if they are working together, and Solitaire implies they are, but doesn't explicitly say so. Lemmings turns aggressive and confronts Solitaire, who starts to panic. Xiaoyu throws kunai at Lemmings, but he remains unfazed. In frustration, Xiaoyu decides to attack both Lemmings and Solitaire. Then, Ramaruyatsu and Danjo Tozawa, from the Shinjuku Community Safety Division, approach Raincoat Bug, questioning why a miner is wearing a raincoat in pleasant weather on the streets at 3 a.m. Bug ends the call with Polka. CG contemplates how his world is crossing over into this one and feels conflicted. He escaped from his original world as an enemy and doesn't want this world to be tainted. He suspects the callers might be on the rooftop or among the people below, so he uses his necromancy to secure the building's surroundings. Raincoat Bug pretends to be searching for a runaway dog, and a Stairwell Bug joins them, and Corpse God recognizes the souls of fortune-telling clients in Raincoat Bug's daughter. CG uses his magic to spread the unnatural chill throughout the streets and assists Xiaoyu with his invisible hands to restrain Lemmings. Meanwhile, Solitaire creates a smoke screen with a balloon to escape, but the invisible hands chase him and Lemmings. Lemmings skillfully evades the hands and remains high above the city. Corpse God focuses on Solitaire, who jumps from balloon to balloon, contemplating the skeletons and the origin of the hands. Lemmings grabs Solitaire's cape but fails to catch him completely. Corpse God then deconstructs the magic, informing Polka that the intruders escaped. The images of skeleton hands spread on the internet, and a video of massive hands in the city is shown on television. The first season of the anime ends with many mysteries left unresolved, leaving viewers eager for the second season. So stay tuned and updated for more exciting episodes to come.